Well, good morning. Good morning to everybody. Good Sunday morning. Good Easter Monday morning, not Easter. Good Sunday Easter morning and everything. I hope everybody's having a good time. Let me make sure my chat's on right and everything. Get started here this morning. Oh, hey, Ponka. You doing all right this morning, Ponka? Hope everybody gets started in here and is going to enjoy themselves. I'm gonna try to just. I'm up. Well, to tell you where I'm at, I'm upstairs. This is where I do some of my radio show. I do a. Let me straighten up here a little bit. I've got myself all wadded up. This is one of my. This is my home studio. Yeah, I think I'll run for president. Yeah, yeah. I thought that would be a good title there to show this morning. Yeah, I think I'll just run for president like everybody else and see what comes down. And you know, hopefully, I wouldn't be as bad as some of them that are running. I tell you, we've got a mixed bag of people that are running. They all seem to be wanting to. You'd vote for me. That's good. Good morning, Chris. How are you? Happy Easter to you also. Yeah, yeah. I hope it's. Thank goodness the weather has changed out here in North Carolina. Of course, it's cool this morning. We've had some cool mornings the last 2 mornings. I mean, it's been warm up until then. I'm going to scratch my ear there, but yeah, I think I'll just run for president, just like everybody else. I think my platform would be different, though. I wouldn't be running as a socialist like all of them are. I mean, the rest of them are, other than Trump, as running for, uh, they're running to give everybody, make sure that everything's free for everybody. Well, I'm in the retail business and I'm in the, uh, trucking business, so I can't give everything free to everybody. I would like to give them a good price on everything, but I don't think I'm going to give anybody anything free. And so if I was president, you'd still have to pay your own way, but we'd try to make it fair for everybody and we'd try to make it where you could afford things. And I think, and I would run on the economy, just like our president we've got right now. He's done pretty good with the economy. And see, the crazy thing about it, I am a Democrat. A lot of people think, well, you're just a Republican and you run down Trump and you're doing this and you run down these other. No, I like what the president's doing. I like a lot of what the president's doing, and I'm a Democrat. I'm an old Southern Democrat. Way back, I've been a Democrat since 1972. I'm not ashamed to say I'm a Democrat. Some people say, well, maybe you shouldn't say you're a Democrat. No, the Democratic Party used to be a good party, and it just got hijacked by a bunch of idiots. And that's my opinion about the Democratic Party right now. A bunch of idiots have owned it for the past few years. And back when JFK was president, it was run right. When FDR ran it, it was run right. When Harry Truman was a president, it was run right. But they made decisions that was good for the country. Right now, we got idiots out there that just are crazy, and I don't understand it. I'd like to have two parties that would not to be so far right and so left. And right now, we've got two parties that are so far either extreme right or extreme left, and nobody in the central or in the middle of the country or the middle of the road has a say so anymore. So politically, that's where I stand. I'm a Democratic conservative, which is a rare breed. That's a rare breed. I mean, I'm a conservative. I believe in being conservative, and right now all we got is Democratic socialist, which is the extreme left, which is crazy. And I think there used to be a lot more people like me in the Democratic Party, and there probably still are a lot like that. Uh, and but that being said, I'm not a party line person. I don't hold true to any party line. I vote Republican. I vote for Democrats. I vote for anybody I want to. I vote with my brain. I don't vote. I don't vote with a party line. I mean, the people that uh, the vote say, "Oh, I'm just a Democrat and I'm gonna only vote for the Democrats." Well, that's foolish. That means your vote's already cast. I wouldn't want to go to the polls and not have to look at anything. I said, "Well, I'm a Democrat. Let's just vote Democrat. Just check one box and go home." Well, that's stupid. That is totally stupid, in my opinion. Yeah, and like I said, Chris, vote for the lesser of the two evils. And sometimes the Democratic candidate, especially in local elections, may be the better person, or the Republican may be the better person. You've got a choice to make. Uh, on the national elections, we do get them skewed either extreme one way or the other, and it's really hurtful. So yeah, I'm gonna run for president. You reckon I need to? I probably need to get me a little more money than I have on hand right now to run. So I guess I'll have to get me a campaign fund started or some sort of crap like that. So you know, I don't know how all the ins and outs about doing that. So I would just have to wait, I guess, and declare at a later time. But I say it in jest because most people know I'm kidding. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. That's right. Yeah, you want to be able to take care of the Indians, don't you, Chris? Yeah, and I want to. I guess I'm president of my corporation. I'm president. I am a president in that sense of the word. Uh, I'm president of a couple of my corporations, and I probably have to stick to that rather than just running for president of the United States. I mean, I hopefully I do a pretty good job of what I'm doing, but running the government the way some of these people are trying to do is idiotic. You can't. You have to, and this is where I applaud President Trump, is because he's running it like a business. He's running a lot of the government like a business, like it should be run. And uh, well, I'm not in city limits, Ponca. I can't run for mayor of Cherryville. I'm I I can't. I have friends. One of my best friends is a city councilman. He's a boy I graduated high school with, and he's a city councilman. And he and I talk politics, local politics, and then everything else. But I'm just right out. I mean, my business is inside city limits, but I'm not a resident of the city, so I'm not allowed to run. I'm just a half a mile outside the city limits, but I can't run because I'm not a city resident. Even though my business is in the city and I pay city taxes, and you would think that if you owned a business inside the city limits, you could, but your residence has to be in there. So that's the purpose of that. Yeah, like I said, as running a corporation like I do, and I've got a fairly good sized business. We employ about we 40 something people. I think I employ, and that's not a small amount of people. It's a good many people that depend on me each week to make sure that there's enough money in the till to pay everything, and that in itself is a job. We have to make sure that we're functioning properly, because if we don't, we could belly up. And that's the government is in a crazy situation. It just prints more money. When the government runs low and runs a deficit, they can continue on. If a business runs a deficit, they end up shutting down. I mean, I can't continue on and running a deficit budget. after a while, my people I owe money to, they'll come collecting. They'll want to be paid. So that's the difference between running a business and making it a good, valid business rather than the way that we run the government and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, if you're wondering what this is behind me here, like I said, I do a radio show each Tuesday morning. I actually pre-record it, but I do it each Tuesday morning, and it's called Cruising in the Carolinas with Mike. And what I'll do a lot of music from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Music that what I say is music you like to get out and cruise in your car with. And that's what I've got in the background back here. You see some of this running in the background. Of course, I got my YouTube running over here in the background, and I've got my studio work over here in the background. But I like doing things like that, and this is an avenue for me to advertise my Napa store. You set your reminder on your phone and got home and you yeah, it's 10 o'clock on 10 o'clock on Eastern Standard Time. So that would be for you, Chris. So you're in Central Time on, so that'd be 9 o'clock for you. Yeah, yeah, everything's doing pretty good. Comfortable, man. Yeah, I'm enjoying life here. You're going to be catching it next year. Well, you need to. You need to catch it. I tell you what, Chris. I'll even shout out to you. I'll even talk about Chris Richards out. Now, give me the town. What town are you in, Chris? Give me the town so I can get the town straight. And I'm gonna say one of my listeners in your town. So give me the town so I'll know the town, and I'll do a shout out. Okay, you're in Dodge City, Kansas. Okay, I'm gonna tell them. I said, yeah, one of my listeners from Dodge City, Kansas, Chris Richards, and I'll dedicate a song for you. What? Okay, tell me this, Chris. What song would you like to hear? Now pick it out from the 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s. Pick out a song, and I'll play you a song on the radio show, and it'll be broadcast on that ktcbroadcasting.com. You can stream it live over the internet, or if you lived in this area, you could actually pick it up. So think of a song that you might want, Chris, and I'll put that song as I'm doing things. I'll get it, pull it out, and play it in the show, and say dedicate this to one of my listeners in Dodge City. It's Dodge City, Kansas, right? Am I doing that right? It is Kansas. You have to do some thinking now, Chris. Okay, think of a song before the show's over here, or what I can play for you. Yeah, Dodge City, Kansas. Okay, yeah. I guess I could play something by Kansas, couldn't I? Yeah, that's what I can look up. What's the one from Kansas? Something about something in the wind. Ponca's right. Oh, you're in Ponca or close, are you? Okay, cool. Now, y'all Kansas guys have to tell me what song you want to hear. Y'all want to hear one from the group Kansas? I mean that's something you could do. Oh, so Ponca, you're in Oklahoma. Okay. Well, Ponca, you'll have to tune in. You'll have to tune in next Tuesday morning. This coming Tuesday morning. It's on every Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. And of course, they don't actually start my show till about 10, probably about 8 minutes after 10 or whatever. They do the news and the weather and sports and a few things like that. And then it kicks into my show. So it comes on about 8 minutes after the top of the hour. Dust in the Wind. Okay, there you go. Hey, Dave. There you go. That's the Kansas song. That's definitely something for Kansas. There's a little bit of dust out there, isn't there, Chris? I guarantee it. Yeah, dust in the wind, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'll look up "Dust in the Wind" by Kansas for my friends in Oklahoma and Kansas. I'll be doing that for Ponca, and I'll be doing that for Chris. That'll help out. That'll help out right there. And that'll put a good song in the radio show right there too. "Dust in the Wind," Kansas, and that'll work, will it, Chris? Okay. Well, that's what I'll do, and I'm gonna do that. Now, you remember, if you hear "Dust in the Wind," you didn't hear I'll intro it or extra it or whatever, and I'll be mentioning you and Ponca, and even Dave. I'll mention Dave too, since Dave's the one that came up with. Now, Dave, where are you from? So I can get your location in there too. That way we can get everybody. We'll shout out to as many people as we can. I have to get my Mountain Dew, but okay, you're 10 miles from Kansas border where your dad was born. What's the biggest town near you, Ponca? And Dave, Dave Brook, where are you from now? What town are you in? Or what state, what town? And I'll try to get everybody mentioned in there this next week on the radio show. And I hope you'll like the radio show. Like I said, we play, but you're going to hear a local advertisement and a few other things, and advertisement for my store, Cherville Auto and Truck Parts. Shelby, I'm your boss man. Now, wait a minute, Dave Brook. Oh, that David Brooks. Good gosh. Oh, I didn't even realize that was the Dave I was talking about. Oh, good gosh. That's one of my drivers. David Brooks, not Brook. I thought it had an S on your name, David. Oh, that David. Yeah, good gracious. Yeah. Yeah, David's got to work tonight. David's got to drive. You got to drive to Lumberton tonight, hadn't you, David? Yeah, I'm thinking. I wasn't even thinking. Here it is, blowing my mind. There, he came up Dave, and I just know him as David Brooks, and then he's got a Dave on there, and it blew my mind. Glenn Campbell, Wichita. I like Glenn Campbell. Yeah, I like to do that. So I like Glenn Campbell. I got to see Glenn Campbell when he first got started. He came did a concert at Charlotte Coliseum, and he even kind of hinted around then. This was before Elvis was doing the big concerts, because he was friends with Elvis, and he said I'm going to talk Elvis into coming to Charlotte. Oh, the crowd went crazy, and he the other thing he did, he was talking and going on, and he made note of. He said there's a gentleman in the crowd. He said, I hope he's here. I said, I think he's here. He said that I used to listen to and watched when I was a young boy, and it was Arthur Smith. And Arthur Smith and his Cracker Jacks used to have a show. I thought it was just a local show out of Charlotte, but I didn't realize it was syndicated nationwide. And Glenn Campbell watched it, and Arthur Smith it was sort of like the Wilburn Brothers or Porter Wagner show, only it was out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and it was his show. And Arthur Smith is a nationally known, well-known guy, and I even had one of his songs, and you may have. I'll tell it to you right now. The Arthur Smith, I got to meet him back in the 70s. Now he recorded James Brown's "Papa Got a Brand New Bag." He recorded a lot of different tunes that people don't even know about. But one of his most famous tunes was it was a tune of his, a song that he wrote, and it got plagiarized. and it went on to be in a big movie. And I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about, guys, but it was Dueling Banjos. Arthur Smith actually wrote that song, and the guys in the movie played. They knew about it and they used it, and then they wrote it like it was theirs. Like they called it Dueling Banjos, and Arthur Smith actually called it Feuding Banjos, and but it was the exact same song. And when I was down there, he was showing me all his different gold records and everything. He had Papa's got a brand new bag on the wall, and he had a picture of the gold record of that, and then he had Dueling Banjos gold record. I said, "Oh, okay." And then right beside it, he had a picture of a great big out boat. They just go out in the ocean, one fishing boat, and and he said, and that was bought by Dueling Banjos because he basically took them to court, and they end up having to give him all the royalties for it, and it was a multi-million dollar song. It sold a couple of million copies, and it was a gold record and everything else, and it was in the movie. So he got the music from the movie rights. He got the money from the song, and won the lawsuit and all kind of stuff. So they had to pay out a ton of money to Arthur Smith and all that sort of stuff. But when you listen to my show, and I try to make it interesting. Last week I featured a girl that was actually from. If you're old enough to know the '70s music, and if you know some disco music, there was a girl that came out with a song called "I Love the Nightlife," and her name was Alicia Bridges. Well, she was actually from this area. She was from Lawndale, North Carolina, and went to school up at Burns High School, and she actually was a DJ a little bit when she was about 13 years old on WADA radio station, which is the radio station that I actually, WADA WOHS was bought out by Calvin Hastings that owns KTC Broadcasting. And so it was sort of a tie-in with everything. But, I like to feature different groups or individuals that are from the Carolinas that made national hits that people don't even know about. A lot of people in the Carolinas don't relate to the fact that they've made national hits. Oh, your wife likes, well, yeah. Alicia Bridges is, she was raised probably 12 miles from where I live right here. And real close to where my driver, David, lives. David was on there. I think David lives up there in the Cleveland County area, out in the country. And yeah, she was she's a few years younger than me, but she made it big, and she was playing in nightclubs and all kind. And actually, my brother-in-law, who had a band at the time, she sang with them one time too. But then she in the mid to late '70s, when the disco rave kind of hit, she hit it big with "I Love the Nightlife," and all that. As a matter of fact, let me play. I actually have. Let me stop this right here so I don't have too many things going at the same time. But I will play a tad bit of it here. But I got it in the background here. I think. See if I can get it. Yeah, let me. I don't know if y'all. Well, I don't want to play too much of it. I'll get dinged for. Hey, Greg, how are you? I'll get dinged for playing somebody else's song on there too. You can't play registered music on the YouTube channel without getting dinged for a cease and desist and all this sort of stuff. So I had to cut it down to about 20 or 30 seconds there. But that was that song. And but like I said, I like to do things like that on my radio show. and hopefully I make it entertaining. So, guys, if y'all want to tune into that, it's I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm gonna go down here and type the link so you can get to it real easy. Let me get my fingers going here. I think I spelled it right. Yeah, ktcbroadcasting.com. And you can just click on that and link to it, and it will say, listen live. Now, he has 3 stations. I'm on 2 of them that morning. He has, well, actually, I guess it's 4 stations because it's AM, FM. He has his AM and FM both tied together. So if you listen to WLON or WOHS, they both have this AM and FM. Oh, you got it up on? Oh, yeah, and I have it on Facebook too. Yeah, yeah. That the Facebook link, I have that because you're a friend of me on Facebook, Chris. So uh, yeah, I've got it there also. But for the ones that are not a friend on Facebook with me, they that's the link you can get to on this. Yeah, ktcbroadcasting.com. And you can get that on. No, you can't get. Yeah, you can get that on YouTube. Or yeah, that's what it is. It's on YouTube. I think, or is it on Facebook? No, that's just on the internet. It's not really YouTube, but I guess it can be. I believe they can get it both ways. I can't remember, but you can just their .com will just go straight through the internet, and you can do a streaming. Just get ktcbroadcasting.com, but you can do the live. You can listen to it live right then. So that's the way that is. Hey Jeff, there's another one of them. There's my mechanic there. Yeah, Aaron Tippin's from actually he's from Travelers Rest. You said Spartanburg, but Aaron Tippin is from Travelers Rest, South Carolina, which is it's up above Greenville and out to the west of Spartanburg. Yeah, he's close to Spartanburg. But yeah, of course, most people, if you're into rock and roll now, right outside of Spartanburg is Marshall Tucker Band. So if you're an old rock and roller, Marshall Tucker Band is down from around Gaffney and Spartanburg area. So those guys were big in the 70s, if you remember them. Of course, most of those Caldwell brothers have passed on or gotten out of it. I think it was a couple of Caldwell brothers, and they've a lot of those have passed on, I think. And then I'm trying to think of some other big groups. Of course, okay, anything pre 1995 is good by you. Okay, well, we do it, like I said, we do 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. That's primarily what we do on that. I do some in the 90s, but I don't do rap. I don't do any kind of rap music. I don't do any kind of heavy hard rock. I don't try to, I try to keep it where it's cruising music, basically what you hear on your top 40 music. Well, hey, Mechanic Mike, how are you? You like the 80s the best, do you, Chris? Yeah. Yeah, my son does too. My son, he grew up in that era, and he was telling me what to put on out there. So yeah, I mix it up, and I like the good sounding music's what I'm after. I don't want crappy sounding music. I mean, I play a little bit of country, I play a little rock and roll, I play a mixture, and like I said, we've got a lot of, well, for instance, Don Gibson is from the Shelby area too. Now I played some Don Gibson tunes, and of course Ray Charles recorded a lot of his tunes. Then other people have recorded. Patsy Cline recorded some of his music, and I recorded some and played some of theirs. And then of course Earl Scruggs is from Shelby, North Carolina. If you're into bluegrass music, Earl Scruggs, one of the biggest, or probably the biggest banjo picker in the world. was raised right in Shelby, North Carolina, just a few miles from me over there, or as my daddy used to say, he was raised over there in Ora Mill Village, and Ora Mill was a one of the Dover mills back then, but I had the Ora and the Dover and a couple other mills over there. But and then we've had a couple of big songwriters that were from Shelby also. We had a boy that I recorded years ago that, gosh, and his name slips me right now, but he went on to Nashville and recorded for Alabama. I mean, wrote songs for Alabama and Patty Loveless and Reba McEntire and a bunch of big artists. So you'd be surprised of the talent that you don't know about that's lingering around. Some Rick Bowles, that's the guy. You have to look him up if you're interested in songwriters. Rick Bowles from Shelby, North Carolina. He Bowles. He was a real good songwriter back in his day. Well, still is. He's still in Nashville writing songs. And then we have one other connection. I'm going to give you this connection to Cherryville since I'm on this song thing this morning. I know most of y'all young people know the name Thomas Rhett. Well, Thomas Rhett has a Cherryville, my hometown, a Cherryville connection. His dad is Rhett Akins. Of course, of course, Thomas Rhett. His full name is Thomas Rhett Akins Jr. I think, if I'm not mistaken. And Rhett Akins' father was in the oil distribution business, and his brother-in-law was in the oil distribution business, and I think actually helped Rhett's daddy get in business down in Georgia, up here in Cherryville. But Rhett Akins' grandmother is from Cherryville. She was born and raised up here in Cherryville. So Rhett Akins, or Thomas Rhett's great grandmother, was from our hometown here in Cherryville, and she was a beam from up here. I believe I'm right. I believe it was a beam, but McNeely's and the Beams. I think I'm right on that. But anyway, it was Tommy McNeely up here, or Tom McNeely, and then his brother-in-law, Rhett Akins' dad. Did all that in the oil business, but it's a small world. But anyway, that's another music / combination Cherryville, North Carolina, and everything thing that I like to kind of talk about, because it's kind of neat, when you kind of know some of these people, and know that they just come from humble backgrounds also, and they are also. Yeah, I'm in Mike. I'm in my studio. This is my studio that I use upstairs at my house that I record my radio show in, and so I kind of converted up to here this morning, since I'm announcing my run for president, as the title says on my link and everything. Usually I'm just running for the border, you might say, but yeah, I enjoy, this is sort of my little place of solitude, I guess you might say, up here. I've got a lot of my music and, different things that I can deal with here. Get the old microphone out and, do my commercials and things like that. Yeah, it's sort of hey, Aloysius. Yeah, it's a sort of a, or my laboratory. Yeah, I guess you might say that. Yeah, yeah. My employees might want me to run for president to get out of their hair sometimes. I don't know if David's still in here. Jeff was in here a minute ago, but yeah. I think with all the craziness that we got going on in the. Whoops! All my stuff went blank on me, didn't it? Whoops! I had to hit that. There we go. Got it back up there. It'll go dark on me there for a second. Yeah, I'm gonna yeah get. Let's see if I can get all my employees and a couple of them on YouTube and a few others. I'm probably up to about 75 people now. You think I can run a presidential campaign on 75 people? It's a start, though. It's a start. Yeah, but when you look at the craziness of what we got going on out there in the world, and I think most people will agree that the one thing that I'm voting against is any kind of socialism. I mean, this crazy talk of democratic socialism, and that prostitutes the Democratic Party. It irritates me when I hear them say democratic socialism. The Democratic Party is not that bad of a party when it's run right, but in the past 40 years, it's been prostituted with the likes of Bill Clinton and Al Gore and President Obama, and now this crazy crap we got going on right now. And we can't let it. I mean, the Democratic Party has gone left, 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 left. Now it's all the way down here to the extreme, which is aggravating. I mean, I like to have parties not to be that far apart. I mean, we had the famous Senator Sam Ervin, and I always liked Sam Ervin. He was a good old senator from Morganton, North Carolina, just right up the road from here. Also, Morganton's about 30 miles from where I live, and Sam Ervin was a good man, and he ran the country right when he did it. He voted across party lines. He wasn't back then. They weren't just solid Democrat, Republican. Everything's Democrat or everything's Republican. He would vote the way that his constituents wanted him to vote, and that's not what we're seeing anymore. Well, see, I am a registered Democrat, Ponca. I mean, so I'm registered. I've been registered as a Democrat since 1972. But the Democratic Party has changed. The Democratic Party has changed, and I'd like to see the Democratic Party get back to what the Democratic Party stood for, not for what this crap is doing now. And that's my opinion. And you hear a lot of people. I mean, you hear like Candace Owen and some of these other people talking about how the Democratic Party, left them. And there's a lot of people that feel that way. The party changed, and it's not the same party that it used to be. In the South here, I would say there a lot of people have switched from being a Democrat to a Republican, or a lot of them have like me that I just vote how I want to vote. I don't vote along party lines. Never have. I never have, and I never will. I was never taught. And if we could get, the independent party, you lose out on any kind of primary. If there's a primary in your area, you've lost one vote right there, because you can't. They don't let independents vote. In some states, they let independents vote in the primaries. You can't do that in North Carolina. If you're an independent, you've got no vote on any primary. So, and that's the alignment that I took years ago, because the Democratic Party was stronger way back then than it is now in North Carolina. And right now, the Republican Party is stronger in North Carolina in some respects. I mean, we got a pretty good two-party system, I guess you might say, but it's changed. It's definitely changed. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Communist Party and all that is crazy. Hey, Jan, how are you? Well, I hope now, Jan, where are you chiming in from? I don't. I like to know everybody's locations if I can. And I try to try to shout out all the different places in the United States, and I get them from all over. I had somebody from. No, you're not the one from. Uh, South Africa, are you? And I had somebody from South Africa in here the other day. I can't remember. Ah, you are. Okay, you are the one from South Africa. All right. Yeah. Hey, JC, how are you doing? Yep. JC's right. Socialism is favored by those who won't do work for themselves, is always looking for a handout. Yep. Yeah. If I saw a good thing the other day, and it was talking about capitalism and socialism, and it showed capitalism two different bread lines. Basically, the socialism showed all the people waiting in line to get a little bit of bread, and capitalism, it shows a bread line that had a line of bread there to be bought by somebody, and that's the difference. Yeah, yeah. There's a huge difference between the, like I say, capitalism and socialism or communism, and it just irritates me to no end because my dad was uh, in the Battle of the Bulge, World War II. He fought against Hitler. He had to actually. Dad was there uh, when they had to bury all the people from Auschwitz. They had to actually dig a trench. He said it must have been the length of two or three football fields, and they had to bury the people, take the bodies, the dead bodies, and just bury them in a big trench because it was so. I mean, it was horrific. They had to do a big mass grave for everybody, and it was terrible. And my dad said that Eisenhower made sure that all the soldiers went and got the townspeople from Auschwitz and brought them out there to the graves to see what was going on in their community, to see what they was doing to all the Jews. And I think I don't know the total count, but it's in the millions of Jews that were killed by the Germans. Millions. I mean, and just think how horrific that is. And some people today, some young people don't even realize that that actually happened or can't relate to it in some ways. And then they think socialism is a good thing. Well, no, it's not. That's Hitler started in a Democratic Socialist Party. That's what he started. And some people say, oh, that's right wing. No, well, I don't care what you got, right wing, left wing, whatever you've done. If you do a socialist party, you're going to be grabbing people's property at some point in time. You hear Bernie Sanders and all these people say, oh, yeah, we need to nationalize this, nationalize that. Nationalize means you're going to take people's property away. You're going to take for somebody that's worked his life or their company, whatever you want to say, they're going to take that property away and give it to somebody else or give it to the government to run. And who runs everything the worst anyway? It's the government. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Montana, happy Easter to everybody. I hope everybody has a good Easter. It's a beautiful day here in our hometown of Cherryville here. So we're enjoying the sunshine. It's cool. Yeah, they do. They have a lot of them have stopped teaching government the way they should be teaching, and they get into college and it's been taught by so many extreme left wing teachers now that it's pathetic. And then you get a skewed version of what the government's all about and all that. Let me turn my volume off on this thing. Forgot I had it back up. I'll end up having something going crazy here in a minute. But um, yeah, I saw something the other day. Of course, everybody's making fun of, and they rightfully should, of that little kid AOC that comes out with the dumbest stuff every time you turn around. She comes up with something dumber every day. It seems like. And she said, "Oh, I can't read the Constitution because it's written in cursive." And that's about right. I know it was a joke that somebody put up, but it's probably about true for a lot of them because uh, even my grandson, who is a smart little boy, he doesn't like to see things in cursive because it's so Greek to him, you might say. Yeah, AOC is she's something else for sure. She they've called. Everybody talks about Trump lies and does this. What Trump does doesn't bother me. The best analogy I heard of Trump the other day was he's like a mud man. He said you can throw all the mud on him you want to. It's not going to stain his clothing at all. All these with these pure white clothing. Now you throw something on them, then you see that big stain real quick. Trump gets out there and he says a lot of things just to aggravate people. And you know, personally, I probably wouldn't like him as a person if I had to hang out with him, but he's ruling the country and he's doing a darn good job. So I can't complain. Yeah. Yeah. It's, that's the thing about it. Everybody needs to go back and look at the Bill of Rights. You need to go back and read the different amendments. I guarantee 90% of the people have never read the amendments to the Constitution. And well, I mean, that crazy, like we were talking about AOC, she said, oh, yeah, said the Republicans had to have the 22nd Amendment to keep FDR from running again. Well, no, the little idiot didn't realize when they did the 22nd Amendment, FDR had already been dead 2 years. So, yeah, there was a rule against dead men running is what it was. It wasn't anything about, not wanting FDR to run. But she got out there and said, oh, yeah, the Republicans did this so they could prevent FDR from running a fourth term. No, good Lord prevented FDR from running a fourth term. He died. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. So, we've got a lot of idiots running the government right now. I mean, some pure T dangerous idiots is what I'm afraid of. I mean, that's a yeah, it's terrible. Oh, there is no common sense on that, and that other girl that's from what was it, Michigan, up there, Wisconsin or Michigan, that the girl that wears the the head crap on her, or I don't know where she from. Where's she from? Syria. And these kind of people with those wanting Sharia law and everything else is ridiculous. Yeah, Minnesota, is it Minnesota? Is she from Minnesota? Maybe. I don't know. I can't even pronounce her name, Talib or whatever. There's two of them up from that area. One of them's from Syria, a Syrian descent, and the other one, I don't know if she's Iranian descent or something. But two Muslims. We got two Muslims in Congress there, and you know it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy that oh yeah, they're exposing themselves really bad now, and we've got to just buckle down as a country and vote the right way coming up. I mean, that's the thing about it. I mean, your vote is more critical now than ever before. And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, it's just one vote. Not going to do this." And there's a lot of people that won't vote. I don't care what you think. Your vote does count, and they've proven in so many ways that you know what you don't realize, that your vote may tilt a county, and that county may go one way or the other, and then that county it has ramifications on how it goes as far as the general election, and then the general election, uh, all that relates back to the Electoral College and everything else, and the you know and that right there is one thing that I want to stress too, is the Electoral College was put together over 200 years ago, and it has worked ever since we've started electing presidents. And people that don't realize that is the only thing that probably keeps our elections fair. If not, we would be elected. We wouldn't need to vote, because L.A., New York, and Chicago could determine every president that we have. if we didn't have the Electoral College. And who wants that? I mean, though you have 3 or 4 powerful, huge, over democratic areas, left wing areas that could control the entire populace. And that's not the way the Constitution had everything written out. And that's why these politicians want to do away with the Electoral College, because the Electoral College is it's the referee out there that makes things fair. If not, I mean, you might as well, it'd be the same difference of having 7-foot guys over here playing basketball and 5'5" guys over here playing basketball. It wouldn't be fair at all. I mean, they'd just go down to court and kill you every time, block all your shots, and they'd win every single time. And that's the difference between a good democratic society. I mean, we got 50 states. We don't need 3 or 4 populous areas in the United States controlling the way everybody else in the United States feels. So all this nonsense of getting away with the Electoral College, they want to do it for a reason. And that's like, I was listening to some of the politicians in the state of New York, and most people don't realize, they say New York going Democratic. Outside of New York City, it would be more Republican than it would be Democrat. Outside in the country, out there in the rural areas of New York State, they would not control it. The state capital is in Albany, but New York City controls what everything happens in the entire state, which is crazy. If New York City wants it, the state of New York has to go along with it, because this New York City controls the populist vote with everything in the state of New York. And that's not fair either, but that's the way it goes. JC, we'll see you. You take care. You get out there and stay warm today, JC. But, I hope everybody, they see my title on that I'm going to run for president. And I guess, like I said, it was all done in jest, because, we got to be serious coming up in 2020, and I hope we're serious, and we keep the United States running straight. And like I said, here I am. I'm a Democrat, and I'm telling everybody, I would rather see it stay the way it is now than go with these crazies we got in the Democratic Party is crazy. And I'm a Democrat telling you that. I have not seen one single candidate that even would hold water to what Trump's doing for us right now. Trump is doing us a lot better, and most people say, oh, you're a Trump guy, you're a trumpeter, or you only. Listen, like I said, I'm a Democrat, and I'm telling you, President Trump is doing a better job than any of these Democratic candidates have even professed. And I'm looking at the total picture. I don't care what party line he is. And Trump used to be a Democrat too, if most people knew about that. Trump used to be a Democrat. He decided to switch parties to the Republican. And he had all the socialites, and you can go back and look at in the old pictures and everything. Everybody and his brother wanted to align themselves with Trump until he switched parties and ran as a Republican. And then now he's the most evil person in the world, because he's not aligning himself with all these socialites and their democratic ways and their socialist democratic ways, because he has a revelation as a businessman and go, my business practices and everything are better here on the Republican side. But that's life. That's the way it goes. Well, guys, I'm about to talk my voice out again, so I'm gonna get off. I've enjoyed doing that, and if I actually decide to run, y'all be sure and vote for me now. So I'll leave that up to y'all. But right now I'm sort of like Joe Biden. I'm on the fence. I'm pondering if I'm going to run or not. So y'all take care, and I'll catch y'all next week, and I'll give you an update to my campaign. See ya.